So what we're going to do next is actually talk about our different allocations here. You can see over here I have marketing, development, treasury, team, DEX liquidity, centralized exchange listings, and growth incentives. So I have a bunch of different allocations I've already set up. Yours might be completely different, but what you're really saying here is we have 1 billion total supply. We're going to slice up all those tokens, and then here's how we plan to use them. That's what you're saying. And you're trying to be as transparent as possible. You're also trying to make sure you don't get destroyed by selling pressure. As an example, let's say we said we had rewards and we had 50% of the supply was for rewards. Well, that could be a ton of selling pressure, right? If we give out 50% of that to people as rewards and they just sell on us, that could destroy the entire project. That would be very bad. And so that's why the allocations becomes extremely important to set up right. So what I've set up in this template over here is we have our fully diluted market cap, but it's actually wrong because this is supposed to be 20 million. So let's change this now to be 20 million. And let's also go over here to this market cap forecast. I'm going to change this to be 20 million as well. Okay, so what I'm doing here is now this is going to change this whole section down here. And I'm going to also set this up. That way this increment amount is $10 million. Okay, so what this is saying is every time over here we go from 20 million, that's our starting market cap, it's going to go to 10 million more, 10 million more, 10 million more. What it's also going to show you then is it's going to go over here and say, all right, what percent of the supply are we actually allocating? And at this market cap, how much is that worth? And so the cool part is, let's say this one said rewards and we had 50% for rewards. All right, and I did something like this. Rewards, and here we did 50%. Well, you'd be able to see right here, wow, we have $10 million when we launch of tokens as rewards. And as your price increases, look, it's even more. So if you want your price to go up and you just give out a bunch of rewards and they sell, what does that do? That will destroy you, right? So that's why looking at the value of your tokens like this is so important to make sure you're not, again, allocating too much value to people that can just sell and dump, especially as the price rises. That's where this is also really important to keep in mind. And so as you're building this out, this is something to pay attention to. But let's talk about some standards. So marketing, it's common to have a marketing allocation of around 10%. The development, this is also somewhere that I usually see right around 10%. You don't need to have these allocations. Again, this depends on your budget and what tokens you might need. We go over here to treasury. Treasury at 10% is usually going to be a little bit low. And you can see I have over here, because I've just adjusted, I have 15% more of the supply. So I'm going to change this to be 25%. And so now I've actually made up for that, and now I'm back. We can look at our team allocation. It says here 10%. This is actually pretty normal. I don't like to see higher than 10% to the team. That's just my personal preference, and also a lot of people in the public also don't like that. If we look at our DEX liquidity, these are the tokens that we're going to need to put inside of our liquidity pool when we're live on the decentralized exchange. We'll talk about that in another video, but here I'm going to go ahead and set this up just to be 10%. Okay, you can see here I have some additional tokens left over. I'm going to go ahead and now make my growth listings, my centralized exchange listings here 9%. And now I have over here my growth incentives. I'm going to leave this at 6%. All right, we're not going to talk anything about cliffs yet, but what I've now set up is I make sure that all my allocations add up to 100%. And I also be able to look at over here, say, well, as the price goes up, are any of these allocations too much, right? Would this maybe kill my project? Would this be too much selling pressure? These are the questions you want to start to ask yourself and start to look at over here. And you're also, again, able to change these different values to see different market cap levels, again, to be able to look through these numbers. In the next video, we're going to talk more about Cliff's investing schedules and how we want to set all this stuff up alongside the unlocked TGE, because this is also a really important thing you want to pay attention to.